Hi there guys, Ken here, your Thrifty Apprentice, and welcome back to another Thrifty review. In today's quick review, we are taking a look at Marco Raffine 36 count of colored pencils. Now I originally ordered mine in combination with a 36 count of watercolor pencils as a 72 count pencil set, and they came in individual 36 count boxes. Now, I reviewed the watercolor pencils on the channel about a year ago. If I can remember, I'll link that review, or you can just go back and search the Thrifty review playlist and it'll be in there somewhere. Like I said about a year ago, and I'm just getting around to finally reviewing the colored pencils. So the pencils come in a chipboard box, pretty straightforward. Has what I'm assuming is watercolor pencil artwork on the front. It says Marco 36 colored pencils, Raffine 36 pieces colored pencils, and then it says colored pencils in other languages. There is an example of what the pencils look like on the front of the box. If you flip it over on the back, it's going to say Raffine. It has a 3.3 millimeter lead, extra smooth bright colors, soft break resistant leads, excellent color laydown for 100% coverage. Does not contain rainforest wood, complies to EN 71 regulations, safety standards for children 3 years and above, and then it has a product UBC code and lets you know that the pencils are made in PRC, which is the People's Republic of China. So that's what the packaging looks like, straightforward. There is no light fast information listed on the packaging. We'll move on to look at the pencils themselves. Now, because they come in a cardboard box, when I use pencils that come in a cardboard box like that, at the time that I'm swatching and testing and using them, I tend to just kind of store them in one of these extra tins that I have around the studio. So, and if you saw the watercolor pencil review, this is almost like deja vu because they were stored in a tin as well, and we're actually going to look at that in a minute. So the pencils are gray. They have black writing, which makes them pretty easy to read. It says Raffine Color 7100, which I'm assuming is the series number because it's printed on all of the pencils. Marco, and then 570, which is the color number. Now it does have a color chip on the end. The end is domed, so you cannot see whether or not the lid is centered. The pencils do sharpen well. They do hold a pretty sharp point, and for the most part they were all centered because I didn't have any issues with uneven sharpening. So that's what the pencils look like as far as the actual pencil itself is concerned. Now it does have a octagonal shape, so it is made to prevent it from rolling away from you on the table, which is a really good thing because the one thing you don't want to do is drop your colored pencils. Once you shatter the lid throughout that pencil, it becomes a real bummer to have to use it in that condition. Let's take a look at the swatches here. So I swatched the pencils out. This is, if I'm not mistaken, Canson 140-pound cold press acid-free paper, and I swatched it out on this paper because typically I am using my colored pencils on either watercolor paper or mixed media paper. Here recently, marker paper as well as Bristol paper. So starting to use them across a wide variety of papers. The color range was okay for the fact that there's 36 colors. You are gonna get a warm and a cool feel from each shade that's in here. So you'll have one that leans more warm, one that leans more cool. You do have enough of each individual color to actually blend. There are 2, 3, 4 gray shades and a black. So you can do some shading with your grays and your black if you need to in order to deepen colors. And of course you can always use the opposite of a color in order to neutralize it. So there are some different ways to blend your pencils together. There are some different ways to achieve the color combination that you may want to without having a wide range of pencils. So with that being said, I guess I would say it's an overall pretty decent comprehensive line of colors. Now, the colors are really bright and saturated for this colored pencil. The lid is super, 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 super soft. Oh, not as soft as, let me back up, because it's not as soft as a Prismacolor. Now, this lid is advertised to be break resistant, and for the most part, I did not experience any breakage that I can remember while using the pencils. Keep in mind, I did the watercolor pencil review a year ago. So I've been using these pencils close to 2 years before I finally got around to this review. And I do not recall at any point having a lid break on me. So that's pretty impressive, considering the fact that they are a soft pencil, they are semi-opaque, and they work really well in a mixed media aspect from the experience that I had anyway. I will mention again that there was no light fast information on the box. And as we examined the barrel, we noticed that there was no light fast information listed there either. So, you know, there isn't any ideal there as to how light fast the pencils are, how long artwork done with them would hold up and last. Now, I did go to the internet in order to do some research to see if I could possibly find light fast information. And unfortunately, I was not able to source it. So if you guys have used these pencils before and you happen to know what the light fast ratings for them are, please throw it in the comments section so that you can share it with anyone who happens upon this video. Because unfortunately, even after over a year, I was not able to find that information. So let's see here. The lids, as I did tell you, were a 3.3mm lid. It's a standard pencil. It's really comfortable to hold. I feel like they're pretty balanced. Like I didn't have any aches or pains, or I don't have aches or pains when I use them. Let's see here. I did tell you that they are semi-opaque. Let's look at some blending that I did with them. So I did a couple of other tests with a few of the pencils here. I did a smudge test, Gamsol water test, and an eraser test. So the results were that it smudges a little, a very little. And I did kind of notice that over the time that I've been using these pencils that, you know, they will smudge a little, but it's not anything that's like super detrimental to the composition that you'll be doing. The Gamsol test, they react really well to Gamsol. We're gonna look at an example painting in a minute. They will lay down and fill in the tooth of the paper so that you can continue to layer. And that's after 1, 2, even 3 layers using Gamsol. You can still continue to layer as long as you're using it. Now, the pencils did smudge a bit with water. They don't react as much as the watercolor pencils do, but they will move. You can kind of blend them down a bit with water. I think Gamsol works a lot better, or whatever odorless mineral spirit you may be using. I think that works a little bit better than the water does. However, they will react to water, and they do erase pretty decently for the most part. Some of them will erase completely up, and then some of them you will erase, and you don't want to erase too much depending on the type of paper that you're doing your composition on, because you don't want to damage the paper. Now here I did a layering test, and you can see the progression of the color as it deepens in value as you add each layer. Now I'll be honest, these are really light layers. I didn't really use much pressure on the pencil as I built that layering test. But from experience, I can tell you that they will layer well, and they will layer well on top of other media. And we're gonna look at that. So I did a blending sphere, and with this blending sphere, I used the more ultramarine of the color, the colors, the more yellow ochre of the colors, the more burnt sienna of the colors, and one would probably be more of a sienna, and the other one would probably be more of a burnt sienna. And I did use that in order to do the blending bar and the cast shadow. I personally think that they blended well. Now, the white pencil was used in order to really blend the pigments together at the end, but I feel like I got a pretty decent variation or gradient in shading from dark to light as I did that. And there are enough earth tones in here if you happen to be a colored pencil artist or a mixed media artist that uses colored pencils for landscapes. There are some, you know, there's not a huge range. There's 4. And then of course you have your greens, which you have a pretty decent selection of those and a pretty decent selection of blues. So you can achieve landscape painting from it. There's not a lot of, like if you are a portrait artist, I feel like you will need some fill-in pencils in order to help you out. They would be really nice in a coloring book aspect, which we're going to take a look at. So instead of saying continue to take a look at it, we're going to go ahead and get to it. So I swatched the pencils out on black paper in order to see just how opaque they were. For the most part, as I told you, they are pretty opaque. Especially as you layer them more and more, I feel like the blues and the violets are a little bit more transparent, or they don't show up as much, let me say it like that, on black paper as the lighter tones do. But all of the yellows and the oranges and the reds, pinks showed up really well, even when you got down here to the greens, except for maybe like that more olive green, the browns, even the grays, the white, which the white is not super opaque. It is good for blending. It is good for casting like those secondary shadows. So let's look at some of the artwork. Coloring book styles. So here I use pre-printed watercolor paper, and I just kind of color it out with different pencils in order to test them out on this particular type of paper. So here is the Marco Raffine flower that was done. They worked really well on this paper. They blended really well. Of course, watercolor paper has more tooth than a lot of papers, so it really grabs the pigment of the pencil. With them being as soft as they are, you know, the color lays down really well, and it does cover really well. I really love that. As you can see, I was able to blend dark to light, get some definition into, hopefully you guys can see that. So it turned out really nicely, and I feel like they worked well on watercolor paper. So I wanted to do an additional painting. So I painted a raspberry here, and this is where I used the Gamsol. So the first layer was done with the lightest of the red shades, and then I used a blending stump and Gamsol, and I blended that entire layer out. It worked so well, and it laid down a really nice foundation for me to use the pencils on to add additional layers, but to really just kind of, you know, oomph it up, hit and miss here and there without having to really cover the entire composition again. So I was really pleased with that. It took really well to mixing with the gel pen in order for me to achieve the highlights. And it also gave me a really nice cast shadow here, being able to blend it from the darker black to the lighter gray. Let's move on here and look at a few more things that were done with the pencils, because I want to get into a little something I discovered. So as I told you, I've been painting with these pencils a while, so we're gonna just take a real quick look at some of the things that they've been paired with and gone with. You guys remember the hamburger card. The Marco Raffine color pencils were used to add a little bit more opacity, a little bit more body, a little bit more weight. That's what color pencils tend to do to a composition in a mixed media aspect. Here the color pencils again were used in a mixed media with watercolor. Here it was gouache. Here is watercolor in order to, again, add more body and more weight to the composition, just to give a little bit more opacity and color saturation. love the fact that they do that. They really help to bring a painting to life. Here they were used again in combination with watercolors. And if I'm not mistaken, this is that Royal and Langnickel 18 color flip kit. That is a fun little $10 fan palette from Walmart. And I just used the colored pencils on top of that. And I really love this rose. I'm actually thinking about having, scanning this one in and putting it on canvas. And then lastly, and that's been done, all those have been done over a span of time. And a few of those are actually on the channel if you guys want to check out the videos for them. So lastly, I recently been taking a alcohol marker course. I'm trying to improve and build on skills. And I signed up for an alcohol marker course from Lindsay the Frugal Crafter. Plug, it's a great course. Beginner, intermediate, advanced, it don't matter your level. I feel like anybody can learn something from that course. It's really, really good. Guys, go check it out. Lindsay the Frugal Crafter, you can check out her YouTube channel, or you can check it out on teachable.com, because that's where the course is. But so one of them is the suitcase, and in her video she uses, or in the class she's using Prismacolor. Well, I decided to use the Marco Raffine because I wanted to see how they really compare with the things that I saw on screen. And again, added a lot of opacity, a lot of body, a lot of weight, made the luggage feel tangible and real. The alcohol markers that I use, that's a different story. We'll get to that in another video. But yeah, this was, and I'm actually shooting this in November of 2022. Let me say that. I don't think this video is gonna actually premiere to 2023. So if I say anything that seems strange, like it's backwards or something, just keep that in mind about the times that they're being shot and posted and all of that good have you. So as you can see, the pencils work really, really well. It helps to build a lot of opacity and body, and adds to any mixed media situation that you're going to use them in. You saw it in the standalone painting, and you also saw them in coloring book aspect, again, where they worked really well. Now, the different types of paper that you saw the mixed media projects on was from 100% cellulose ready cards to 100% cotton Strathmore to again Canson, and then the suitcases were done on mixed media paper, so they work. Okay, guys, I like the pencils. I'm gonna be very honest. I don't know if I like them as much as Prismacolor. I kind of put them on the same level as far as how I like them with like my King Art Pro color pencils, which I tend to grab a lot. I would definitely suggest the pencils. I think that they are a great entry level kind of professional brand, professional grade of color pencils. They're really affordable, pretty readily available at most big box stores. The Marco company has different lines of pencils, but none of them are of bad quality at all. So I just kind of want to show you guys this really quickly. I'm not going to compare the pencils to another pencil, but I am going to show you how they work in combination with the watercolor pencils. So here is the swatch from the Marco Raffine 36 count of watercolor pencils. And what I want to show you guys was that the pencils in the watercolor set as well as the colored pencil set carry the exact same color number and range. So it would be really easy to pair them and use them together, where you use the watercolor pencils as like a first layer in order to paint your composition, and then you use the Marco Raffine colored pencils to turn it into a mixed media project where you're adding all of those different things that we talked about. A colored pencil can add to a mixed media painting. So these are exact number matches. Every single color, all the way down to the white, is an exact number match. So they're going to work really, really well together. Now, I really enjoyed the watercolor pencils. I think that they're really bright and vibrant. This swatch sheet was done 2 years ago, and you can see that those colors still pack a really great punch. And this same can be said for the colored pencils. So I'm I'm gonna see if I can find the link and put it in the video description for the 72 pencil set combination, where you get the 36 color pencils and the 36 watercolor pencils. And then I'm also gonna put a link just for the colored pencils if that's all you're interested in. So guys, that's pretty much all that I have. The pencils are, should I say, I paid I paid $27.89 for the 72 pencil combination on Jerry's Autorama. That's what you can see on the left side here of the screen. Now you can get just the regular 36 colored pencil set for $13.22. But keep in mind that when you order them from Jerry's, you're going to have to pay shipping and handling unless you order enough to meet the requirement to get free shipping. And I happen to, it's ironic, I remember when I made that order, I added that 72 pencil combination in order to reach the free shipping. I remember that clearly. Now here on Amazon, you can get the 36 pencil set for $18.99, which makes it 53 cents a pencil. That's actually pretty decent for a professional grade of pencil. It's going to be cheaper per pencil here on Jerry's, definitely. You're definitely getting them at a better price. But again, you're paying shipping and handling here. And if you're ordering from Amazon, if you're a Prime member, you're going to get free shipping. And then the Prime delivery is 3 to 5 days now, if I'm not mistaken. So there's where you can get them. I feel like they're a good investment. I feel like they're a great pencil to get if you don't have, if you've been using student grade pencils, and you want to make a step up, a very affordable, economical step up to an entry, what I feel is an entry level professional grade pencil. I think that this is a really good choice. I think they are really nice. I really enjoyed them. I've been using them for a very long time. In a lot of different situations. So I would definitely recommend them. So there you have it, guys. That is the Marco Raffine 36 count of colored pencils. If you heard any information in this video that you found helpful or that'll help you on your art journey, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. It is going to help the channel grow, please. Don't forget to share the video. Maybe someone out there needs this information, even if you don't. Use the comment section. Let me know, have you used the Raffine line? Have you used any Marco line of pencils? If you've used the Raffine line, what do you think of them? Or do you think this is something you may be interested in? Really nice pencils, really affordable. Don't forget to follow us on the Thrifty Apprentice Facebook, Instagram, as well as TikTok. You can check out the video description for a link to both the channel Facebook group, where we will be doing giveaways and contests coming up really soon. And you'll also find a link for my most recommended product list. Keep in mind that that most recommended product list is an affiliate link, and it does help me make a few pennies if you order anything off of that. All right, guys, there you have it. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And remember, as I tell you at the end of every single video, just keep painting.